Today on the Bandrew Says podcast, I'm going to be sharing 10 pieces of advice on being a YouTube creator. Greetings, Earthlings, and welcome back to episode 180 Heaven of the BSP. My name is Bandrew. This is what I says. Like always, down below, timestamps of everything that I talk about so you can skip around. If you want a different version of the show, audio or video, you can find that at bandrewsays.com. And I am a proud member of the Geeks Rising podcast network, geeksrising.com. This was a slow news week. A very slow news week, so I had a little bit of extra time. I went ahead, I built an extra soapbox to stand on and yell at you from. I am going to provide you with 10 pieces of advice that I came up with for YouTubers. And keep in mind, this is just my advice from my experience. I am not saying that any of this is absolute. I have seen people who don't do any of these things and they've been successful. I have also seen people who do all of these things and have been unsuccessful. Just keep that in mind. Piece of advice number 1, don't quit your day job. And before you start typing, "Oh my god, I want to be a full-time fork knife player, how dare you tell me I can't quit my day job and do that?" That's not what I am saying. I am not saying that you cannot become a full-time fork knife YouTuber. That's perfectly possible. Perfectly possible. What I am saying is don't quit your day job as soon as that idea pops into your mind. I am saying that because YouTube is a very fickle thing. YouTube takes a very long time to grow your audience, grow your subscribers, grow your views, as well as growing your revenue. What I would say is do YouTube as a side gig or as a hobby at the start. Earn money at your job and pay your bills and pay your rent and feed yourself while you're developing your following on YouTube. Additionally, when you do have a good month on YouTube, you see that $5,000 check. That would be nice, wouldn't it? But when you see that $5,000 check from Google for 1 month, don't automatically think, okay, it's time to quit my day job. I'm going to go. I'm quitting my day job tomorrow. Don't do that. Because on YouTube, you have good months and you have bad months. Also, throughout the year, ad rates change. You may have an amazing month in December and think, oh my God, I have finally made it. But then January, you will see the dreaded January blues where you earn nothing because ad rates are 0. Nobody is paying for ads. But once you start to see a few good months, maybe even a year or 2 of this consistent livable income coming in, then I would recommend considering quitting your day job and making YouTube a full-time gig. But don't just do it right out of the bat, right out of the gate. And I understand doing YouTube as well as doing a full-time job makes it much more difficult because you have a lot less time to put into creating videos. I understand that, but I think it is a much safer route as opposed to just going all in when you just have 50 subs and you think, I'm going to do this full-time. I don't want you living on the street. So don't quit your day job, ... immediately. Wait to see some consistency of livable income. Piece of advice number 2, don't compare yourself to others. And this is an instance of do as I say, not as I do. And it's something that every YouTuber does and every YouTuber struggles with. But the moment that you start comparing yourself to others, it becomes this very negative cycle in your head, or at least it did for me. I would say, why am I not getting as many views as them? Why are they growing faster than I am? Why are they getting more likes than I am? Why do they get recommended more than I do? But my stupid monkey brain never thought through to the answer, because the answer is very simple. They have a team of 5 people making their videos. Their videos are just better than mine. They made a video on that topic and you didn't. There are many reasons why other channels perform differently than yours. So once you start comparing your analytics to another YouTuber's, it can very quickly spiral out of control into this negative thought cycle, which can be very detrimental to your mental well-being, as well as to your channel's performance, because you will just come across as you don't like doing what you're doing. I am guilty of this exact thing, and I understand it is easier said than done. But I also want to make sure that you're not misunderstanding what I am saying. I am not saying that you should avoid watching other YouTubers, and I am not saying that you should avoid being influenced by other creators. Both of those things are excellent for you to do. Go watch as many YouTubers as you want. Go get influenced by as many people as you want, because those will help you improve your channel and maybe lead to further growth. But please, do not start comparing your video's analytics to another channel's analytics. And just so you know, this is a note for me as well as it is for anybody watching or listening to this. Piece of advice number 3, set yourself apart from other channels that are in the same niche as you. It's very easy to look at a channel like Casey Neistat and say, okay, I'm going to copy everything that he's doing. And when you are first starting out, there's nothing wrong with that. You haven't developed your voice yet. You haven't developed your own style yet. It really does help you learn the process of making YouTube videos. And while you're doing that, you will inevitably develop your own voice and your own style, which will make your channel stand apart. So don't automatically think, well, I started ripping off this channel when I was 15. Don't think of that as a bad thing. That helped you develop what you're doing now. But once you get past that point, I think it's incredibly important to do something different to make you an individual in the specific niche that you're in. The channels that I have seen just blow up have all done just that. A couple of examples that I thought of. Casey Neistat. He took the vlog style that was just shot on a pocket camera, and he made a statement with his videos. I am going to make vlogs actually look good and be incredibly interesting. It's going to look like a low-budget movie, a really good low-budget movie, as opposed to me just filming on my phone or a little pocket camera. Now, if you look at vloggers, every single one uses a DSLR. Another example, Mr. Beast. He took the over-the-top spending clickbait titles, but they're not clickbait when it's on his videos because he actually does go and put 100 million Orbeez in his friend's backyard or gives $100,000 to different streamers. He took those clickbait titles and made them a reality. Very different from all the other clickbaity YouTubers. PewDiePie, he took gaming videos and added his screaming at a horror genre type thing. Nobody was doing horror games the same as him before. He brought something new. Jonathan Morrison, he makes tech videos look like they were shot for some kind of film. They are just beautiful. Then iDubbbz, he just says stuff that nobody else is willing to do, and he adapted the commentary and criticism channel to a point where he actually does proper and lengthy research prior to critiquing somebody, let's say. Number 4, get to the content. This is based on something that I heard, I believe it was Adam Savage say. He said, people will click off a video in the first 15 seconds if they don't get what they are expecting. So my advice is don't have a 3-minute rambling intro and an advert and smash that like, smash that subscribe button, all of that nonsense at the beginning of the video. This is important for a couple of different reasons, in my opinion. If people come to your video looking for topic X or an answer to question Y and they don't get it, they are not going to recommend your video to their friends. Additionally, they will likely click off your video very quickly. So not only are they not going to recommend it, but they will have a very low watch time on your video. The lower the watch time on your video, the percentage completed on your video, the lower it's ranked in YouTube's algorithm. On my channel, I know that I have the exact same intro on every single video, and it's 30 seconds before I get to the actual content, and I could tighten that up and shorten it up. But at the same time, before any actual video plays, I have a 3-second still frame that says timestamps for every test or topic in the show notes and description. meaning that people don't have to watch the entire 5 or 10-minute video to find the information they are looking for. They can go look at the timestamp, say, okay, at 1:35, he talks about exactly what I am looking for. They will click on that, go watch that piece of information, and then leave. So yes, I am directly negatively impacting my watch time, but at the same time, I am giving the viewer a much better experience. So that viewer is much more likely to recommend me to one of their friends because they had such a good experience. They got the information they wanted very quickly. Now, when their friend says, well, I have a question about this, well, go check out this channel. This is where I found that information in 30 seconds. It was really nice of them. So I am losing out on algorithmic recommendations because my watch time is decreased, but I am substituting that with word of mouth recommendations because I am ensuring the audience gets the best experience that they can. Piece of advice number 5, respect your audience. I understand that that last piece of advice could have fit into this area as well, but I think there's something else that I need to share with you, something that I learned the hard way. Know what your audience came to your channel for and know how far you are willing to push them. And I will elaborate on that because that sounds bad. Oh, I'm going to push my audience this far before they just break. I'm not saying that. If your audience subscribed to your channel for audio gear reviews, don't start posting videos about cooking. Don't post unrelated content that they are not interested in because you get bored. Respect your audience and what they are expecting to see. Additionally, don't post a ridiculous amount of videos that aren't terribly interesting to the majority of your subscribers. In my case, I created the Podcastage 2 channel because I didn't want to flood people's subscription boxes or notifications with a bunch of videos. I did, I think, 30 USB sound card reviews. Not terribly popular videos, but I know people would be searching for each of those reviews, so I wanted to separate them into their own videos. I uploaded all of those to the Podcastage 2 channel. That way I didn't spam, at the time, I think maybe 50,000 subs. I didn't want to do that. I was respecting the content that I was putting on the channel and also respecting their time and their notifications. I didn't want them to get notification fatigue from me. I wanted them to be excited when they saw a video being posted. Now, with all of that being said, I am not saying that you can't pivot your channel's focus because you absolutely can. You can just look at what PewDiePie has done, but you need to know how far you are willing to push your audience and how long you're willing to deal with the hateful comments that you will inevitably receive while you are changing the focus of your channel. PewDiePie went from gaming to commentary to skits to memes and back to gaming. I am almost certain that during every one of those transitionary periods, he would get hundreds, if not thousands, of comments stating, hey, when the hell is this game coming back? Hey, where's all the memes? I imagine that happened at every stage in his progression. But even though he was getting pushback from his audience with the transition to a different topic area, the transition opened his channel up to a much larger potential audience base. How many people are interested in gaming? I don't know an exact number, but how many people are interested in watching a funny sketch? A lot more. How many people are interested in memes? Maybe not more than gaming, but it may be a different group of people. It's opening his channel up to a much larger potential audience base. That's what is so smart about how PewDiePie has managed his channel. He has been able to successfully pivot the focus of his channel because it is very personality driven, but he has done it in a way that has not just kept him in one niche. He has gone from gaming to comedy to commentary to memes to everything. And that is probably why, in my opinion, he is the biggest actual YouTuber in terms of subscriber. So there are some benefits to pushing the envelope on your channel to see what your viewers are willing to accept, but it does come with a lot of risk because any of those pivots that PewDiePie did could have very easily backfired, and his audience could have said, okay, well, screw this guy. He's not making content that we're interested in. We're out of here. And his channel could have died. So there's a lot of reward there, but with a lot of reward comes a lot of risk. Keep that in mind. You can pivot the focus of your channel. It's very difficult, but in all of this, you need to respect what your audience is expecting and set those boundaries for yourself. How far are you willing to push them? Are you willing to accept a lot of hatred and a lot of subs just leaving your channel, no longer watching? Think it through. Number 6, respect yourself. This is not something that I hear enough people talk about. Yes, respect your audience. Yes, make good videos, but also respect yourself. Don't push yourself to the point of exhaustion or mental breakdowns. It seems like that's something we hear more and more frequently. YouTuber burned out. YouTuber has mental breakdown on live stream. It seems like an increasingly common thing to occur. That's because making YouTube videos is incredibly hard work. If you need a break from making videos, please do it. Your mental health is far more important than a YouTube channel. I can assure you, YouTube channels don't matter in the grand scheme of things. Your mental well-being, your health, your life is much more important than that subscriber count, than that view count. He says, kind of speaking to himself. Keep that in mind, Bandrew. Okay, thanks, Bandrew. Appreciate it. But think about why it is so much work. Think about how many jobs you are doing. I made a list of a couple to share with you. You are being a researcher, a videographer, an audio engineer, a host, an editor, a video editor. You're being a social media manager. You're handling the administrative work, and probably 10 other jobs that I am not thinking of right now because I run my channel poorly. You are doing 10 people's jobs. Quick side note, when somebody says, oh, that YouTuber makes $150,000 a year, that's too much. They're doing 10 jobs. They're not making too much money. They are being compensated fairly, in my opinion. So when you see people with $1 million income, like these huge tech channels, that's a lot of money, but they also have huge teams they have to pay, and they are doing a lot of work, and they have a lot of jobs that they themselves are doing and they are being compensated for. Essentially, you are doing a crap ton of jobs to run a YouTube channel, and you can't expect yourself to be able to do that forever, doing 18 hours a day. So in addition to respecting your audience, which was tip 5, don't forget to respect yourself. Pay attention to what's going on with your body, with your mind. I sound like a hippie. Respect yourself. Treat yourself. In the words of Aziz Ansari on Parks and Rec. Number 7, diversify your income streams. If you do want to make a living out of YouTube, you need to remember how fickle the platform truly is, especially in terms of earning money. You will have good months, but you will conversely have very bad months based on video performance, the YouTube algorithm, and even just the time of year, because as I mentioned, CPM, which is how much you're paid for 1,000 views on a video, CPM changes based on the time of year. December is the highest CPM, January is the lowest CPM. There are multiple factors that will affect the income from advertising on YouTube. But not only is there the variation in terms of ad dollars, there's also the whole demonetization issue that is currently so popular to talk about on YouTube. Policies change day in and day out, and they seem to be retroactively enforced. If you did something 5 years ago that was acceptable at that time, but they change a policy today, that could make that video from 5 years ago no longer acceptable in terms of advertiser guidelines, demonetized. Maybe even a strike if it is egregious enough. So if you want to make a career out of YouTube, you cannot rely solely on YouTube income. You cannot rely solely on Google AdSense. You need to diversify that income to as many different platforms and as many different income streams as possible. You could sell your own advertisements to companies, meaning you are becoming an ad seller. You could crowdfund through Patreon or another crowdfunding source. You could set up a PayPal account, a Buy Me a Coffee, a YouTube members. Many different options there. You could sell merchandise, Teespring, robots, humans, whatever they are. Bunch of merch sites out there that allow you to sell merch directly to your audience. You could do consulting work, get hired by somebody to make videos for them, or give advice to them, or help them grow their channels. Or you could do speaking gigs. You could get paid to go talk at conventions. All of these things are important to consider because you need to ensure that if one of these income streams dries up, you're not going to be unable to pay your bills. You need to make sure you're able to continue to pay your bills and continue to live. So diversify your income streams if at all possible. Number 8, you need to know the platform that you're creating for, meaning you need to understand the audience that you have on the platform as well as what's expected from content on YouTube. YouTube is a video platform, meaning audio-only content in many cases, not all, but in many cases, likely won't be that popular and likely won't work that well. Also, you need to remember, YouTube is the second largest search engine. Very powerful tool if you are a creator. Very powerful discoverability tool. So you can benefit a lot from single topic videos as opposed to videos containing 10 topics like this show. If I just did each of the topics that I discuss in the podcast as individual videos, I think I would have much better luck in terms of discoverability through search as well as through recommendation. For instance, if somebody searches for announcement of Blue Yeti X and they see a 40-minute podcast episode where I talk about it for 1 minute out of those 40 minutes, they're not going to want to watch that. They are not even going to click on that. So that is detrimental to my channel's performance. That is why a lot of these video podcasts set up their own clips channels or upload clips to the channel that the show is hosted on. That's what I am doing to hopefully improve the discoverability and awareness of this show. So single topic videos really can be beneficial on the platform because those are more searchable as opposed to a single video that covers 10 different topics, because if somebody sees a 40-minute video talking about one thing, likely not going to click on it. Number 9, own your own domain that you are able to cross-post your content to. As I have alluded to multiple times in this advice segment, YouTube is an incredibly fickle place, and there are no guarantees that it will be around tomorrow or 5 years from now. If you want to continue to exist on the internet and have this brand and this channel that you have, buy the domain that's associated with that brand, make a blog, and repost or, I guess, cross-post those videos to the blog. What you can do with that is drive traffic to that domain as opposed to your YouTube channel. That way you are increasing awareness of podcastage.com or of geeksrising.com or of bandrewscott.com as opposed to increasing the awareness of youtube.com. Whenever you give somebody your youtube.com link, you are just bringing brand awareness to YouTube, even though everybody knows what YouTube is. But if you are saying, if you want to see my videos, go to podcastage.com, people will say, okay, I go to podcastage.com to look up microphone reviews. Then in 5 years, if YouTube were to ever disappear, I could re-upload all of my reviews to whatever new video hosting platform there is. You may have to pay for it, and then re-embed all of those videos to the blog posts that already exist, and I don't lose any real traffic other than the discoverability that was on YouTube. So essentially, all that you're doing is creating one place that you know will not disappear, that you can drive traffic to. That way, if YouTube, if Twitter, if Facebook, if Instagram, if any of these places disappear tomorrow, people will still be able to go to podcastage.com and find out what I am working on, where they can find my videos, and everything. You want to create a home address, I guess, for your content, and I hate to say it, your brand. Blech. And number 10 is a very controversial piece of advice. It is know when to quit and know when not to quit. I was debating including this one in the list, but I think I have something important to say here. I am not going to say, if after a year you don't have more than 100,000 views on every video, quit your channel. I am not going to say that because that is stupid. I don't know if tomorrow is going to be the day that your channel gets discovered and those 10 views that you were getting per video jumps up to 1 million. I know of an example of exactly that. One of my good friends was creating videos for over 2 years, and he was getting maybe a dozen videos on every single video. He would have been perfectly justified in quitting, but he continued making videos. He made one small change to the content that he was making, and now he has, just a few years later, over 500,000 subscribers, and he gets hundreds of thousands of views per video. If he had just said, okay, I've been making videos for 1 year, and I'm only getting a dozen views per video, I'm gonna quit, he wouldn't be where he is right now, he wouldn't have such a successful YouTube channel, and he wouldn't be having so much fun making those videos. I am not going to tie quitting or not quitting to analytics at all. But what I am saying is the moment that you start hating making YouTube videos and you find that you are unable to remedy that, you're not able to change your production schedule or change the focus a little bit and start enjoying it, the moment you actually start hating and dreading making YouTube videos, don't be afraid to move on to greener pastures. YouTube is supposed to be a fun endeavor for you, or at least for people who do it as a hobby and that hobby turns into a job. You should be enjoying doing what you're doing. And if you absolutely hate it, don't be afraid to move on, because people do change their jobs. On a similar note, you can also create a new channel. Somebody who did that exact thing, Craig Adams. He ran the Wedding Film School, had over 100,000 subscribers, very successful for him, and he decided, I don't want to do this anymore. He abandoned that channel. I think he may have sold it to somebody, and he started a vlogging channel. It took him a while to pick up on that channel, but now he has over 250,000 subs, just had a viral video, million views, killing it over there. Because he didn't like what he was doing, he was willing to make a sacrifice in terms of income probably, and go try something new, and it paid off for him, and he seems so much happier doing that. He's traveling the world doing awesome stuff. So you can change jobs, you can stop making YouTube videos, you can create a new channel. People change jobs all the time. Don't feel like you are locked into creating whatever it is you're doing right now, especially if you hate it. There you go. Those are my 10 pieces of advice for every single YouTuber. I hope those help you. If you have any advice that you want to share, leave it in the comments down below. I want to know what you think is important when creating videos or podcasts or anything. Let me know, or send an email to askbandrew@gmail.com. Now let me jump to a random question that I got in a comment or an email or somewhere. They asked me, why do I use the Focusrite 18i20 for my reviews when I have much nicer interfaces to use? I use the Focusrite because I think it is a good mid-tier interface. It is not going to ruin the audio being recorded, and I am not running it through a $1,000 analog to digital converter, giving it all these benefits. Also, I think it is one of the, if not the, best-selling audio interface. So yes, I could run my microphones that I am reviewing through a $1,000 or $2,000 interface and sound amazing. But what I want to do in those videos is give as many people as possible an accurate representation of what they can expect out of a microphone's performance when they are just running it into their computer, because very few people have $2,000 or $3,000 interfaces, or even a $500 interface. $100 to $200, the sweet spot for what people are willing to pay on an interface. That's why I use the Focusrite, because I want as many people to know what kind of performance they are going to be getting. Now let's jump to what you had to say. First email comes from Rod. He says, regarding Nikita, try to DIY one of those hollow balls boxes to speak into, which isolates the immediate surround sound of the mic. They are popular with spoken word / voiceover artists who record from home. I made one from a cardboard box and a heap of old shirts for podcasting when the dogs next door were barking. Also, an old rolled up foam mattress works wonders. Good luck. Edit. The commercial ones are called Chaotica and cost about $300 Australian dollars. Rod, that is an excellent suggestion. I saw a video on Booth Junkie's channel, I think. Do these things work? And in many cases, they didn't work for him. But I imagine if you create an actual enclosure for the microphone, almost encapsulating the front and the back of the microphone completely, I imagine that would improve the sound quality quite a bit. Thank you very much, Rod. I appreciate ya. Next comment comes from NetPagan. Bandrew, I don't know if you're familiarized with Nerd City content. They create pure gold videos. Takes them forever to film them, though. Maybe you could check their latest one, Demonetized Words by YouTube's Algorithms. It's pretty interesting, and maybe you could talk about it in your next BSP. Hope you like it. NetPagan, thank you very much for the recommendation. I am well aware of Nerd City. That channel is incredible. They do an excellent job with their research. They did an amazing spin on the commentary and advice type thing. They made it fun to watch. It's not just somebody sitting in front of a camera. It is a full production with characters, and they're so much fun to watch. I love that channel. And I watched this video as soon as I got the notification for it. I'm happy they did the research. I am happy they have confirmation of this, but it's not really anything new. Everybody on YouTube, or everybody who creates for YouTube, was aware that people were claiming that LGBTQ creators were being demonetized for including terms in their videos, and a bunch of other stuff would get your videos automatically demonetized. Everybody was fully aware of that, but I will link the video in the show notes if anybody wants to check it out. 30-minute video. The channel is incredible. Fun to watch even if you don't care about YouTube. Next comment comes from Wheezy Reviews, UK perspective. Whilst I agree the NT1 and MK4 are better microphones, the AT2035 can be had for 140 GBP in the UK. The MK4, 266, the NT1, 200. It's hard to fault the 2035 for its value. Wheezy, I agree with you 100%, and thank you for providing the information regarding the UK pricing of these microphones. And for £140, I agree. The AT2035 is perfectly fine. But when you are given the option, the 2035, the Sennheiser MK4, or the Rode NT1, I think the MK4 and the NT1, different league as opposed to the 2035. So if those are options, go with those as opposed to the 2035. And P.S., Wheezy Reviews actually does microphone reviews. So if you want to listen to a wonderful British accent, go check out Wheezy Reviews on YouTube. He does microphone reviews as well. Go check him out. Thank you for the comment, Wheezy. Now let's jump to my favorite part of the show, the Ask Bandrew segment. Alrighty, if y'all got any questions, go ahead and send them to askbandrew@gmail.com, and you can also send in a voice submission on the SpeakPipe app found at bandrewsays.com or bandrewscott.com. Any of those websites, emails, voice submissions, video submissions, anything you want. First email comes from Bailey. Did YouTube fix their issue with flagging the term shotgun before microphones, which was causing issues with your monetization? Bailey, thank you very much for the email, and yes, they did. If anybody is unaware of what Bailey is referring, when I was doing a bunch of shotgun microphone reviews, YouTube was interpreting those probably as some type of gun video and demonetizing my videos. As soon as I saw that on a more recent video, a more recent shotgun mic review, I went back and looked, and I think there were 4 or 5 of those reviews that I had done that had been demonetized. I posted about it, then I requested manual review, and within 2 days, monetization was turned back on all of them. Thank you for checking in, Bailey. I appreciate you. I pre ya. Next email comes from Quastus. That's not how you pronounce it, but that's what I'm going with. Hello, I'm looking for a clean, warm voice recording interface and mic bundle for rap mostly, and my budget is around €600. What would you suggest me to get? I'm really confused with all these options. My eyes are going bad. With all these options out there, AKG, Rode, etc. Thanks, K. I'm just going to call you K because I cannot pronounce your name. Thank you, K. Rode NT1 would definitely give you a warm and clean sound. It's not going to be overboosted in the high end. It will sound really nice and full and warm and just hug you with that. If you really want to go warm, if you really want to go warm, go for an SM7B. But don't buy it new because that'll probably be €400. You don't have much for other stuff. Buy a used SM7B for maybe €300 or €250. Get a Focusrite 2i2 or Focusrite Solo and a Fathead. There you go. I don't think I've ever seen a rapper use the SM7B, so I am not sure if that would work well for that application. You may want a condenser, so the NT1 kit would be a fine option. The Sennheiser MK4, another recommendation that just came from the last email. But if you want a sleeper option, this is one I don't hear enough people talk about, but it is one of my favorite microphones that I have tested in the last year. The SE Electronics SE4400. I love that thing. So smooth and warm and just beautiful sounding. It is ripping off the AKG C414, but gosh dang, it does it sound good. I love that microphone. There's a couple of options for you. Don't just take my word for it. Go look into those reviews, listen to as many samples as you can find, and make a decision from there. If you can find other rappers, ask them, what do you use? Ask them. I'm not a rapper. I've never rapped in my life. There you go. Best of luck, K. Last email comes from Keith. Hey man, been considering buying either a Steinberg UR RT2 or a Focusrite Clarett 2. I like the Neve transformers, but my computer is Thunderbolt only, and I've heard a rumor that running the interface through an adapter will mess with the audio. If you were in my position, which would you go with? Cheers, Keith. Keith, I have not done any testing in terms of audio or, I guess, Thunderbolt to USB adapter screwing up audio. I suppose that's possible. I suppose. But I can't imagine that being a very frequent thing considering Universal Audio, a lot of them require some kind of converter when you are going from the older versions to new compute. I can't imagine that being 100% true. I would just get an adapter. I would just get an adapter and try it. I've never done a direct comparison, though. Don't take my word for it that it doesn't screw up the audio. I guess it could. I guess it could, theoretically. Theoretically, if you're getting a really bad adapter. Now I want to do some testing. Out of those two, though, assuming that you're able to connect both of them to your computer, if you want more of a vintage, more colored, less neutral sound, go with the RT2. Just run those transformers to death. Run them all the time on everything, for everything, all the time. But if you want a transparent sound, the Clarett, and if you want to add a little bit of color, I think the Clarett does still have that air circuit, so you can throw that on and boost the presence, treble, and air frequencies and really brighten stuff up. I think the RT2 would be much more beneficial if you are doing music stuff and really driving the preamps in there and really saturating those transformers. I don't even know if that's the right terminology, but if you're really putting a lot of juice through them, then I think the RT2 would be better. But if you're just doing voiceover, I didn't hear almost any difference on strictly voiceover using the transformer or not. I started to notice it when I was doing DI with my guitar and bass through the RT2. Now I want to do some tests. I'll figure something out. I'll have to do some research on how I can test out. Does a USB adapter screw up sound quality? I don't even know how I would test that. All right. That's it for this week. A little bit different, but I got one announcement. If you want to watch the replay of the International Podcast Day segment that I did with Heather, the host of Sunshine and Power Cuts, You can find that in the September blog post on bandrewscott.com. Go check it out. Heather did an amazing job hosting. Just beautiful job. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. I will talk to you next week. I love you guys. Okay, bye-bye.
This has been a Geeks Rising production, your executive producer of Bandrew Scott. For more information, head over to www.geeksrising.com.